I'm Sam.
And I'm Gus, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 mistakes that people make when making a college list.
So when you're deciding that you're going to apply to college, it's a great idea as one of the first steps to make a list of the colleges that you think you want to go to. It seems like a simple first step, but there are a lot of mistakes that people make as they start to make the list of colleges that they're going to apply to.
One of the biggest mistakes that people make is they are dismissive of schools that they haven't heard of or don't know about. So basically, you might have heard of some really big name schools, but you might not have heard of some smaller schools or just schools not in your area that have really excellent programs, but people don't put them on their list because they're like, oh, I've never heard of that school, so why would I apply to that school? And the answer is because you don't know everything.
You know nothing.
So do the research and find out more about the schools you don't know about and try to, compare them in a meaningful way. Another big mistake that people make when making a college list is they don't really research what the schools look like. So they will basically put schools on the list that they've heard of, like Harvard or Stanford or MIT, but they don't really think about what does this school look like, what kind of feel does this school have. So they might not realize that a school is in a really urban environment and they might not enjoy that. Or they might not realize that a school is out in the middle of nowhere and it is 2 hours from the nearest airport. And they're just not really considering that when deciding what to put on the list. So really try to understand not just like what is the school about academically, but also do I fit in with it geographically and socially.
Yeah, so if you're able to visit a school, that can help a lot in terms of getting the feel of the school. But if you're not able to do that, there are a lot of resources online to check out what the schools look like. A big one is the Crimson Education YouTube channel. All of our day in the life and big questions and extracurricular videos can show you what it's physically like on the ground at these schools, and that can be a great thing to check out as you're researching what schools you want to apply to and put on your list.
We're a little biased. We work for the channel.
Yeah, watch our videos, please. Another mistake that people make when they're putting together their college list is not taking into account finances. It is, an unfortunate reality that some schools are very expensive to apply to, but it's also very true that a lot of students will dismiss a school because they assume that it's going to be too expensive and they don't actually know the full slate of financial aid and scholarship opportunities that exist in those schools. So don't necessarily assume that a school is out of your price range, but do the research into it to see what kind of scholarships you can apply to and what financial aid opportunities they might give for a family in your situation. So make sure you really do the research so that you're not ruling out a school just because you think it's either too expensive or another reason related to that.
Yeah, some of the schools that people think are the most expensive schools actually are the ones that have the most money to give as part of financial aid. So look into it.
I'm giving away free money.
So another big mistake that people make when making a college list is they limit themselves geographically. And people do this for a lot of different reasons. Some people think like, oh, I really need to be close to my family or to my significant other or for another reason, but really try to explore if that's the right way to limit yourself. For some people, those are legitimate limits, but other people will sort of eliminate schools that are far away from home or not within, convenient flying distance because they think, well, I would never be able to make that work. But college is a big, time personal growth, and it might just be that what you need is that distance.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people just rule out certain parts of the country or certain parts of the world because they don't think that they would be a good fit there. But again, if you do the research into finding out that the East Coast of the United States or the West Coast might actually be a good fit for you when you originally think that maybe it isn't, then that can be a good reason to add schools onto the list.
For instance, some people might rule out California schools, but they don't realize that there's an enormous difference between the University of California of Los Angeles, Caltech, and Stanford. It's almost like they're in 3 completely different states.
Another mistake that people make when they're putting together their college list is having all colleges that are within a specific, let's call it, tier. Right? So there could be stretch schools like Harvard or Stanford or Princeton that might be hard for you to get into, but you don't know. You should include those in your list. There can also then be a section of schools that might be a bit of a reach for you, but are more likely for you to get into. And then there can be called safety schools, which isn't a derogatory term in any way, but are schools that you're fairly confident that you can get into. A large mistake that people make is just including safety schools or just including middle of the road schools or just including top tier schools. You don't know exactly where you're going to get into, so it makes sense to have all of those on your list before you apply to college. So those are just a few mistakes that people make when they're putting together their college list. If you have questions about your college list as you're putting it together, now would be a perfect time to click the link below to sign up for a free academic consultation. One of our academic experts will talk to you about the college list that you put together, talk to you about whether it's realistic, whether it's full of good schools that might be a good personality match for you, etc. So yeah, if you want to learn more about all that, like and subscribe to Crimson Education. We'll be doing more videos about these sorts of topics, and click the link below.
And comment your questions below.
I'm Sam again.
And I'm Gus.
Again.
Take care.
Bye.